Joining us to talk more about the East-West standoff is Ivan Eland. He's a defense analyst. Ivan, thanks for being on the program.
Thank you for having me.
So Kremlin wants a 100% guarantee that Ukraine will be prevented from joining NATO. First of all, explain to our viewers why this is so important to Moscow.
Well, historically, Russia and the Ukraine have had a very close relationship. Ukraine was the breadbasket of the Soviet Union. It also had a lot of heavy industry in the Soviet Union. And of course, Russia has been scared a long time that Ukraine would go into NATO. In 2008, NATO said that Ukraine and Georgia would be admitted into NATO. They haven't been so far. NATO has been uneasy about doing that to provoke Russia. And of course, all this started when the Russian-friendly government was overthrown, and Putin is trying to salvage a sphere of influence by taking over Crimea and also by having influence in eastern Ukraine. Simply because he's doing so out of weakness, simply because now Ukraine has a pro-Western government rather than a pro-Russian government. And he's really trying to salvage what he can out of this former Soviet sphere of influence.
Do you think anyone will take this 100% guarantee that Kremlin wants seriously? Is Moscow going to get this type of guarantee?
Well, the West told the Russians after the Cold War was over that they wouldn't expand NATO outside of where it was, and of course they did. So I'm not sure even, countries make guarantees. If you don't get it in writing in the form of a treaty or a signed agreement, things happen. And so I think Russia, certainly Putin has his share of blame here, but taking over Crimea without, international approval or whatever. But he also has legitimate security concerns that, as all great powers do, that they have a buffer zone. And of course, the Russians lost 25 million in World War II. They've also been invaded by Napoleon and the Swedes and everybody else. So I think they're a little nervous about NATO inching forward.
So Ivan, Kiev is rejecting talks with pro-Russian rebels. Moscow wants certain guarantees. Neither side is budging. So where do we go from here?
Well, unfortunately, I think there may be a conflict. Russia's building up forces on the border with Ukraine and even putting some forces in there. And I think the Ukraine really wants those territories back in Luhansk and Donetsk. And so I think we're going to probably see a dust-up. I think the German foreign minister was sort of the last-ditch effort to make the two sides get together and avoid this thing. But hopefully they won't. But it's looking increasingly like there may be some warfare, like full-blown warfare. There's always been some violations of the ceasefire, but it could escalate.
So in your opinion, that ceasefire that they agreed to in September in Belarus, it's pretty much null and void?
Yeah, it worked for a few weeks, but it's pretty much null and void right now.
All right, thank you so much, Ivan Eland. Thank you for your time, sir.